Welcome to the original Loretta Brown Show, radio to open the heart, heal the soul, awaken the consciousness. Mr. Benny Mathers, I am in the Northern Lights.
You are. It's gorgeous up there. Man, I'm so jealous.
Ooh, I want to know how to show myself flying or something,
I'm sure our creative department could work on that.
Or you're in my heads could be up there. Like people are looking at the Northern Lights and they're like, is that Benny and Loretta? What?
That would actually be kind of cool if I could float around in the back over here on your shoulder on a carpet, just kind of like going back and forth, like behind you. That'd be kind of cool.
I'd love that.
A little magic carpet ride.
Yeah, a little magic carpet ride. Anyway, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Staying dry. I mean, attempting to. It's pretty wet out there in the Pacific Northwest this morning, but we're getting through it.
We are. I have my muck-mucks, my rubber
Your
boots.
Muck-mucks?
People have different names for
I
rain
didn't
boots.
know they had these. No, please enlighten me on these muck-mucks.
I don't know. My mother would call things different things.
Well, there was muck-lucks.
Yeah, no, it's my mother.
Oh, okay. So we'll blame her? Well, we'll just go with that. Moms know everything. So
moms know everything.
Right.
It's okay. Like she had, I can't remember, but I know she had a name for my blanket that went everywhere with me.
Oh, but everyone did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, short off of like Blanky or, Pinky. I had a blue one. But I just named it Blinky.
Blinky.
Something
Need
like
my
that.
Blinky.
I still have it. Do you still have yours?
No, I don't, but I still have my teddy bears.
Oh, that's cute.
I have 2 teddy bears. One of them's called Teddy, and the other one's called Teddy too.
Well, there you go. It's perfect. That's how my boys name my trucks. Trucky 1 and Trucky 2.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason that I named the Teddy 2 is because, I believe everything's alive, and I thought that the second teddy bear was going, but my name's Teddy too, right? So
that's adorable.
Anyway, I have them, and they're all rumply. You know how nowadays the stuffed animals are so soft and they're so amazing.
Oh, my boys their beds are both. They have bunk beds, so I find they're obviously getting taller and their beds are getting shorter. But then all of we call them stuffies.
Yeah,
I guess,
stuffies.
yeah. So they're gathering still more of them. Seems like they're multiplying like mogwais and gremlins and stuff like that, like in the movie.
Yeah.
By the way, Gremlins 3 is going to be coming out in a couple years. Just to let you know.
Okay.
I know, right? So now you're set. But I feel like, I know, right? I feel like they're not going anywhere. And my first, I didn't have a teddy bear. I had a Felix the cat.
Felix the cat.
Yeah, that was my first full on. I slept with it all the time along with my blanket. So I think that was my first memory of my, I guess, teddy bear. I didn't really have a teddy bear, but Felix the cat was mine.
Yeah. And I know we're talking a lot about stuffed animals, but we need comfort, right? Years ago, when I started doing all my work with Reiki, I had a woman come to me, and not to share people's private information, but she was going through a lot of trauma, and I had in my office, I happened to have a stuffed rabbit in there.
Oh.
I don't even remember where the rabbit came from, but there was a stuffed rabbit. And she looked at that rabbit. And so I just said, I just wondering, would you like to hold the rabbit or a pillow or something, sometimes. And so she held the rabbit. And so I created a storybook for children called The Reiki Rabbit.
Aww.
So I'll have to make that available to people. Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
So she sent me pictures of the rabbit at church sitting in the pew, and the rabbit in the car, and the rabbit in the grocery store. So if you have to go around with your plushies, your what'd you call them?
Yeah, stuffies.
Stuffies.
Yeah.
It's okay. I approve.
Oh yeah.
And I also have a stuffed Tigger that rides in my car. It's a little Tigger that my daughter gave me. So
cute.
Tigger's always there. Yeah. So now everybody knows.
Yep.
That's all you need. Just get a stuffed animal, you'll be just fine. Anyway, let me jump in to the show. And like I said, I am Loretta Brown. I'm the owner of Reiki Oasis. So I've been in business almost 30 years. I'm over here in the greater Seattle area. You can find out more about me at ReikiOasis.com. And my monthly class for women, the Temple of Divine Feminine, will be Saturday, November 22nd. You can join us in person or via Zoom. You can sign up at my scheduler. And then I have a wonderful event also coming up on the 22nd. It's a busy day for me. But in the morning, about 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be doing a gong bath. It's an international music day, Gongs for You. And I have a very small, intimate space at Reiki Oasis. So you can sign up and come there. And yes, I do sound healing, and gongs is one of the things I use, the big gongs. And, my daughter laughs at me because there's an old song about bang a gong, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about healing with sound and frequency.
Gongs.
And, yes, gongs. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Right. So I hope that, like I said, it's limited seating. I think I only have 6 places left. So you're going to want to sign up for that right away if you want to come. And I do have yoga mats and cushions, and you're going to bring blankies, and you can bring your stuffed animals, and you can just come and lay on the floor and have a wonderful time. So good stuff coming up. And I have a wonderful guest today. I'm going to bring Wayne on in a minute, but before I do that, I want to check in with astrology. My goodness, I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm giving my astrology report a name today: retrogrades, revelations, and angelic guidance. And as we move through mid-November, the skies are alive with transformation, just like these northern lights behind me. And the cosmos itself is guiding us inward. What do I mean by that? Well, we got planets going retrograde. We just had the big 11-11 portal, and I'm still vibrating from that. I'm very sensitive. It's a powerful alignment symbolizing spiritual awakening, divine support, and higher purpose. In numerology, the 11, the higher version of the 11, is a master number called the messenger. And the lower one, 1 + 1 is 2, is about relationships. And I am born under the influence of the 11. So I'm always out here with my mouth talking, which makes me happy. I like it. Anyway, Jupiter, the planet of wisdom and expansion, has just turned retrograde in the sensitive sign of Cancer, asking us to come home to what truly nourishes us. Globally, this retrograde could highlight questions about security, family, and belonging, both personally and politically. Nations may reevaluate how they nurture their citizens, and many of us may feel called to redefine home, not just as a place, but a frequency of peace within ourselves. We also have Mercury conjunct Mars, finding the courage to speak truth. So as Mercury retrogrades into Scorpio and meets fiery Mars, our words carry both power and consequences. So Mercury, that planet of communication, Scorpio is a challenging, watery sign, and Mars can get very fired up, right? So it's a time to speak truth from the heart, but to do it mindfully, not just spout off, right? In relationships and politics, this energy can manifest as confrontation or breakthrough. Use it consciously, breathe before speaking, and let clarity, not anger, lead your expression. We also have Sun conjunct Black Moon Lilith, the rise of the shadow feminine. On November 18th, the Sun aligns with Black Moon Lilith, shining light into the hidden feminine, the power that refuses to be silenced. She is rising up, by the way, in her own unique way. Collectively, this brings issues of gender equality, body autonomy, and sacred sovereignty to the forefront. On a personal level, you may feel an urge of and a surge of creative fire or even righteous anger. It is an urge to reclaim your truth and authenticity. I do believe that we're being activated, triggered, challenged, and invited to become more part of our co-creative effort here on our beautiful planet Earth. Yes, I did say beautiful. We also have Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, right? Like I said, diving into hidden truths. And by November 19th, Mercury backtracks fully into Scorpio, deepening our introspection. Secrets may surface, past relationships might re-enter your awareness, and intuitive downloads will heighten. It's as if the universe is whispering, nothing stays buried forever, especially your truth. So with Jupiter, Uranus, and Mercury retrograde, much of the world's energy feels paused but potent. Expect economic recalibration and rethinking of global alliances. In personal life, it's time to revise, reconnect, and reimagine before the new year's forward surge. So if you feel slowed down, that's divine timing. Retrogrades are spiritual pit stops for integration. So as the angels guide us above, the planets guide us below, believe it or not. We're still below all of that, both reminding us slow down, reflect, listen deeply. The next step of your evolution is being whispered in that silence, in the dance between the seen and the unseen, which brings me to my guest today. I'm very excited to have a dear old friend on the show. Wayne R. Cesaro is a U.S. Navy veteran, a master mariner, and now the author of an extraordinary book called Spirit Guides and Angels, Death and Taxes. I feel like there needs to be like a, some kind of a sound there, right? Boing, right? He's lived a life of adventure, from commanding ships at sea to exploring ancient ruins like Göbekli Tepe. Going to ask him about that, and the mysteries of the soul. His book is a raw personal journey through divine encounters, miraculous protection, and moments that reveal how spirit guides walk beside us every day. And he joins us today, I believe, from his home on Whidbey Island. Hello, Wayne. Hello.
Hello, Loretta. I am here.
I'm so glad. I feel like we're like in the fog. I'm like, hello.
It might be foggy outside.
Here is, for those of you visual on YouTube, here is Wayne's beautiful book. Yeah, he's got one too. And it's got a picture, with the chakras and everything, but Spirit Guides and Angels, Death and Taxes. Wayne.
Yeah.
Tell us about that title. Let's start there.
Well, it went through multiple titles, and trying to think of, but it hit me one day. So the only thing that you can be sure of in life is that eventually we're going to die, and while we're alive, we're going to pay taxes. So that's a surety. Now, the part about the spirit guides and angels, not really very sure about. So it brings the two in together, and more or less brings those angels and spirit guides right into your regular life. And as we all know, regular life can be quite hysterical and crazy every now and then. So it combines the two.
So you have such an interesting story, and I'm just going to tell people, just go get the book right now. Go to Amazon, just order it up and read it. It's a great read. You need something good to read right now, and kind of bring you into the center. But I want to ask you, you've lived such a great life. I want to go back in time a little bit.
Sure.
And I would like to ask you, when you began to be aware, if you could answer that you were not alone, that spirit guides or angels or some other forces were with you.
Well, I had experiences, and they're chronicalized in the book more or less, since I was very young. 4 years old is when my first memory is. But I remember starting to ask questions about the last few years that I was in high school. And in those days, it was a while ago, there really wasn't anything out and about looking into esoteric items. Mostly, I remember at the time there was Anton LaVey, there was witchcraft, and if you were lucky enough to be able to go to New York City, you might find a specialty bookstore that would have a few books on the subject. So that was more or less the start when I was in high school, but I didn't really get anywhere until about when I was 21. I had left New Jersey. I was living in Pennsylvania. I was working in a factory making grinding wheels, and I had a midnight shift, so midnight to 8. And instead of going down to the local tavern with my co-workers to have shots and beers, I would go down to the river that was on our property and meditate. And that was when I started to actually experience the unseen. the esoteric aspect of it. The meditations, it was all self-taught. I didn't have any guides or any information. I just went out there and focused on my breathing. I added sound to it as I would hum, more or less like an om, and things just started popping. And that was about when it all started. I mean, I explained some of the experiences. I was able to understand life from the perspective of a catfish, for example, because I would be there meditating and I'd see a catfish, and the next thing I knew, I was in the water, feeling the water going through over my skin, and rummaging through the mud for some grubs or something. Birds, and then definitely my most experiences I had was with trees, where everything just lost definition and I was able to walk in the middle of trees. So that's more or less when things started for me on the experiential way of doing it. And I may have started to find a couple of books, but still not many, until finally, I found the right tribe to hang out with and the right bookstores.
When I look back, even across my life, like, I came out different, right? And it's in your book, you kind of start out with an incident of falling off a horse, I believe it is, and you, I'm going to say, somehow healed very rapidly. And I think the doctor asked you about your family, and you basically said something to the extent of, I'm different from them, or I don't belong there, or something. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? And I'm going to feed you a little bit more words here. When, my experience was, I didn't realize at first that I was, quote, different. I just thought that's how everybody experienced life. I thought everybody saw angels and energy fields and merged with the sky and flew around. Like, I didn't actually know that was different. And then there came a day where I realized, and it was about the age of 4, which is interesting. In your book, you have something at the age of 4, where I realized I had to be quiet. So I want you to expand upon that from your own experience and really talk about that, because I think it's important.
Yes. I had the same feeling, thinking that everyone else saw this stuff. I remember I had an exercise with a classmate where we tried to levitate a paper off of our desk, and I figured we're just doing something fun. Doesn't everybody do this? But I found out that not everybody does. Now, where I was raised, right? Where I was raised in New Jersey. Okay. And this was 50s and 60s, and New Jersey was pretty hardcore. It was hardcore. It was hard to explain, but I also went to a parochial school. So if I so much as indicated that I wanted to experience something with this piece of paper that was not part of the defined story, I would have my hair pulled by a nun, or I would get a whack in the back of the head, and I would be reminded over and over again that this is not what we do. This is not what a child of your age should be doing right now at this time. We don't do that. And then, and the family and the friends and everybody, boom, it's hard to explain. It's just that everybody kind of like gets on you, just for, if you're any bit different, they get on you. And it crowded me so much that that was it. The silence. I will not speak about this with anyone, but I will experience it, and I will, live with it. And then, finally I went through high school and I started looking up some research for books, but it was difficult, and there wasn't a lot of information around on this, and there wasn't a lot of people who were accepting of the aspect. I mean, this was in the days of, you go to church, you say the words, you do the school, and you crucifix yourself, and that's it. And anything beyond that is what? We don't know. Is it black magic? Is it witchcraft? Is it whatever? Because there was no name for it. And if you did go off and start to look at these little items, like then you would have peer pressure, parental pressure, instructor and teacher pressure saying, no, don't. So it was difficult, but it took me to get entirely away from that, absent myself from that environment, get up, go to sea, find some people, and then start realizing that, well, this is acceptable, and I can start looking at it, and I'm an adult, and I can do whatever I want, and I'm a responsible person, and I'm going to do this, and that's going to be the end of it.
So you left home then, and you began to explore your life, and yeah, I'm totally with you. There wasn't much of anything back there except for exactly what you just said, or LSD or something, right?
Right.
Right. Which I never did, right? But how long? And I'm with you, because even though you're silent about it, does not mean you stop experiencing it. All of these abilities and this reality, right? Did you? Amy, I don't know if you can answer this question. When did you really start to come out about it?
When I first left home and I was living in Pennsylvania with friends, that was when I started to experiment and to do a little bit on my own. Excuse me, I have to close the door so this dog isn't barking loudly.
Okay.
I'm back. And it wasn't a group thing, it was just me and my experiences. But that's when I would sit there and go out to dinner with friends, and poof, there's a guy over my friend's shoulder. Or I'd be, sitting down by the river, and poof, there's were the visions and such. And still, I was able to talk with other people about this. And then I was able to experiment. And then I ran into Abigail, who was a professor's wife, and she was a channeler. And we were there that day when she first channeled, because she had experienced something. She didn't know anything about what it was. It was a voice that told her to go into town. And she didn't know what it was. So she started asking around through traditional means. And okay, you can take Valium. Again, there we go again. If something is different, this person is experiencing something esoteric, and what are they going to tell you? Go get a Valium. Take a Valium, sit down. This is nothing. But it was something. And then when we finally got around on her dining room table, who's this? This wasn't Abigail speaking. This was someone else. And it turned out to be Amal, or Captain. And that was the first cohort, or the first group that I actually got in touch with, where we can speak about the same topic. Other than that, that was the first joining. So when getting together with a group of people to actually speak on the topic and to be a part of it is just phenomenal. Yeah. It's so much different when you join with others and you're focused on a topic. So, being a little older and going on, we would have circles where we would all then sit in the circle and focus on a topic, which may have been to bring an ascended master into our presence and get a lesson. But other than that, you're on your own. And unless you actually can find some other people to hash this through, it's difficult. Then, so that was the one point. And then time went by, and I joined the Navy, and I found another cohort, another group, and that was the next plop, the next awakening, or the next discovery time where once again I could join with people and we can have fun. So like I remember one night we all got together and it was Saturday night. What we're going to do? Okay, we're all sailors, but we're not drunken sailors. We're not even doing that. Let's go and do past life regressions. Okay, you know, and it's like, oh, you were in the dunes with your girlfriend, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, don't watch that, you know, and things of that sort. So it was rather fun. And I remember in Hawaii, I met Wiccans that that traced their lineage back hundreds of years. I met Hawaiian priests, and we participated in groups, and it was quite a bit of fun. And then there was an awful lot of good bookstores there. Next to the University of Hawaii, they had specific esoteric bookstores and all the research material necessary. So it was, so to recap, it was in the beginning, you're on your own, and I don't know, I think it takes a lot of strength to be able to, look, explore. But it's amazing what happens when I do, or when anyone does find people and you get into that circle and you do a focus. We're going to go and talk about this. We're going to explore that subject, or we're going to interact with the other side of the curtain, and we're going to have communication and lessons. That is quite different. Mm-hmm.
I am thrilled with absolutely everything you're saying. And I'm like, yes, parallel lives. Yes. Right. I think it's, your story is really important because so many people out there are experiencing things and they are shut down. They can't talk about it, or people think they're crazy, or they think they're hallucinating, or they want to drug them up, or they're an abomination of the Lord, or there's something going on. And I'm noticing there's a resurgence, I'll say, of intuitive abilities, our expanded abilities. And we're going to talk more about that after the break. But I just, I think we need a new song, that song, what do you do with a drunken sailor? It's like, what do you do with a spiritual sailor? What do you do? Early in the morning, right?
Throw them out on the deck in the middle of the night and let them just don't go into a lotus position, please.
Yeah.
Because if you do, it's like, what are you doing, weirdo?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to take a little station break. And this is Loretta Brown, my guest today, Wayne R. I want to say Cesaro. Is it Cesaro?
Yes, that's perfect. Yes.
Okay. It came out of my mouth that way. Spirit Guides and Angels, Death and Taxes. And I'm just going to say, this is such a great book to read. It's easy to read, and it's personal, and it's to the point. It's very helpful, a message that we need. So we're going to take a little station break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Cool. All clear.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Energy is powerful. It's all around us, mysterious, full of potential. Directing positive, healing energy to raise your vibrational rate through Reiki can change your life. Reiki Master Loretta Brown has relieved stress, sadness, anger, and even helped clients lose weight, stop smoking, and end sleep disorders. Worldwide, people have sought out Reiki Oasis. If you want help with your dis-ease, visit ReikiOasis.com. Harness life's energy. Visit ReikiOasis.com today.
It's time that you are heard, and I don't mean in just a conversation. I mean really heard. Imagine hosting your very own radio program on Alternative Talk 1150. Talk about being heard. Call 425-653-1150 right now to learn how affordable it can be to host your own radio show. Time slots are going fast, so take hold of this chance by dialing 425-653-1150. Alternative Talk. We have an opportunity waiting just for you.
Alternative Talk 1150. It's good for what ails you. This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA.
Y'all ready to come back? All right, stand by.
We sailed up a river, wide as a sea, slept on the banks, on the leaves of a banyan tree, and all of these spirit voices.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful music. The perfect song to come back in on. And welcome back to the original Loretta Brown Show with my guest today, Wayne R. Cesaro. Spirit guides and angels is what we're talking about. A reminder that this show is archived. You can download it for free at the KKNW 1150 AM archives for, of course, the original Loretta Brown Show. And we're everywhere. We're on iTunes, Podcast One, Spotify, X, Megaphone, YouTube. I think I even find myself on Audible. I think it's out there. And I've been pirated and I'm all over the world. That's how that works. So thank you to those pirates for spreading the word. Yeah, wow, what a great conversation. Before the break, we're talking a little bit about Wayne's journey, or his journey through life and finding his way to his tribe, which is important. It's so important to be able to gather with like-minded people and actually talk about this stuff. And I am with you. The majority of people discover that they're not alone. So what do you think? It's just an area, a question. What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding that people have regarding the seen and unseen worlds or spirit guides, or what do you think? Yeah.
I'll answer with a story.
Okay.
When I was in the Navy, we went into a shipyard period for a year, and a friend of mine and I decided to go get an apartment instead of staying on the base on the enlisted man's barracks. And so one Saturday I had off. I took a walk up to a park. It was about a 3-mile walk, and they had at the park a heiau, which is a Hawaiian healing center. It's all outdoors. So they had the heiau, they had the place where people gathered, and they said, let's make it a park. Okay, they made it a park. So I walk up there, and then I come up, and I get next to the heiau, and I see menehunis. Now, menehunis are the Hawaiian versions of leprechauns, and you can't see them normally, but I was able to see them. I went, oh my goodness, menehunis! Oh, I honor you. You allowed me to see you and all this stuff and everything. And they're kind of like sitting around there having cocktails or lunch, it looks like that, right? And they look over at me and it's like, yeah, kid, relax. Yeah, we're menehunis. So what? Big deal. Go take your walk and leave us alone. We're having lunch, So I think one of the biggest things is that it's not a big deal. The interaction between spirit guides, angels, and all that on the other side and this side, it's really not a big deal. It happens. And it's just like with anyone else. I mean, I'm making generalities, but it's like any other thing, a group of people you make a relationship with, you become familiar with, and it's easier to talk and communicate. So, yeah. It's kind of like a big deal to see a spirit guide or a helper standing there shimmering, and it's a kind of a big deal to hear an angel speak to you through in a group, no less, through the assistance of a medium. But really, it's not a big deal. And from my experience with this realm, they want the communication.
Yeah.
They want to interact with you. They want to, let's communicate. Let's have life lessons. Let's take a look at what's going on here, because they're sitting up there around us and they get a much better view of what's going on. And when there's a close relationship, they get you or put in front of your path whatever you need if you're in that flow. And they want to, it's not a big deal. I think many people do have the gifts of clairvoyance. It's just a matter of working it and getting to know it and knowing themselves mostly. But the first thing that anybody says about, when you talk about this, it's like, ooh, and I think that's a misconception.
Oh, wow. You are speaking straight to my heart, and I'm like on board there. Did you have more to say before I interrupt?
No,
Okay.
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I do psychic training. Like, I got a psychic development course coming up, so people can check that out. But I live in this sort of realm where, like you, it's like this is sort of everyday life. And yet it is always special. Like you say, when you see them, you're like, oh, wow, hi. To me, it's like old friends. It's like, oh, wow, hello. It's so good to see you. Come on in, right? Wow, let's have a little cup of tea. And but what I run into with people who have not been able to explore this, or they're just on the beginning edges of it, is, they always have these things like, I found a feather or a penny, or I think I saw my grandma at the corner of my eye, or something like this. And they're either so wowed by it that they go kind of crazy with the idea, or they are pushing it away. And it is one of my desires that it become an everyday thing. I don't want it to be ho-hum, but I do want people to know that it's real. So do you have a comment on that?
Yeah. Yes. Well, we're looking at it from our perspective after years of. So, during the time when it was going on or happening for the first time, it was amazing and heart-stopping at certain points. So we have the benefit of having that time put in, so we can look back on it with the maturity that we have. But I understand that it's not that way with someone who first sees it, and then what are they going through? They're going, they've got years of instruction and indoctrination in a certain direction. And now all of a sudden, you never know. It might be someone from a fundamentalist religious group, family that is strong in one regard and, forbids anything other than the family line. And what do you do in a case like that? Do you think you're going crazy? Do you just get away from it and stop it? Or do you explore it? And, there's many, many feelings that are attached to it, but not stigma wise, but there's just, it's, after going through this for, how many years now, I'm over 70. So it's been a long time. It's how do we get how do I transition my viewpoint to other people to where they would be more accepting of the possibility of communication with spirit and the use and how do they do it? I don't know. You write a book and go on a radio program to talk about it, and then hope that those who aren't into research but have had the experience, hope that they tune in. Yes. Because it's freeing. And I think part of what we want to do is we want to help free any spiritual prisoner who is limited in what they can experience in life.
Wow, I love how you said that. Yes, spiritual imprisonment. It's exactly right, because we lock ourselves down and shut ourselves off from the expanded abilities that we have, which are actually a normal part of who we are, right?
Yeah.
The world is so much more than the 3D, right? So much more than the 3D. what do you have any advice to people who are listening who might be, well, how do I start this journey? Is there something I can do? Because I've had someone ask me this the other day. What can I do to begin that communication with my guides or to strengthen it? What do you have any advice?
When it is invaluable to know yourself. So what's the advice? The first advice is have a relationship with yourself in such a regards that you will go into the silence and you will go within.
Yes.
And then finding that silence, everything will speak to you from that point on. Well, that's the beginning, right? So quiet meditation, sitting there, stilling yourself and understanding what you are and who you are so that you know what is your thought as opposed to what's a thought coming in from someone else. Because when spirits would first speak to me, it's more or less is they would put a thought in my head. It's like, boom, there's a thought. And it might be a statement. Okay. And then, okay, I have a thought in my head. First question, is that my thought or is that some other thought? Well, if you know you and you have a good relationship with yourself in the silence, you'll know if it's you, if it's your thought, and you'll know if it's not your thought. And then that starts that wasn't my thought. Where did it come from? And you'll find that it's actually a beneficial kind of a thing, where they're really giving you good information and helping you along. And then the next step is to explore further. So, if anyone is looking for anything outward or into any esoteric or metaphysical, we're soldiers. We have to be strong. We have to know ourselves. We have to be able to command ourselves and have discipline and such things like that. That works everywhere. And once we have us in the palm of our hands, then it's easier to go out and outward.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I'm hearing woven into what you said, there's a discipline here, there's a practice. And like everything, the more you practice it, it's a muscle, the better you get at it. And in the beginning, you can have successes and failures and so forth and so on, right? But it's a practice. It's a discipline. And finding the silence, I think that first step is so important and so difficult for our rattled brains, right? Like we're like, okay, I need to sit and just get quiet. And you're like, oh no, I'm going to think about death and taxes. That's what I think about, right? Right.
Yep. It's especially the aspect of quieting things down. There's a lot going on nowadays. It's just too much. So what can you do? If one learns how to relax and to be at peace, even if it's for a 5 or 10 minute period while you're sitting there with your eyes closed and watching your breathing, that's invaluable.
Yes.
Where it can go from that point is wherever your mind can bring it. But that's the one thing I find is really necessary, because without that discipline to be able to silence and quiet yourself and relax yourself, that's when everything can kind of get a little hairy. That where you can lose control and overreact, let's say. So, when I teach classes, I haven't taught any classes for a while, but when I did, the first topic in the class is quiet meditation. Yes. From that point on, it would be okay. We're going to do readings now. Yes. Pair up, and we would do chakra readings. And that was a next point in the lesson plan. First, it's know yourself, be able to calm yourself. Next, communicate with someone else by reading them. Next, third point is then reach outward and see who's out there. And next thing you know, you're sitting here walking with your guides all the time. And if you ever needed one or wanted to communicate with one, all you need to do is just say, hey, good. And there you have a conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put one little word out there, because I also talk about discernment and who are you talking to? And my biggest joke, maybe it's my $1 million t-shirt, is just because they're not in a body doesn't mean you should listen to them, right?
Right.
So there's a journey here of learning, and
Yes.
we learn these things in life also, like when we learn who we can trust and who we can't.
Yes.
It's just part of our reality.
And if you know you, if you know, I know which is if you got to know you, because really I have gotten flack from social media in regards to people coming at me with their defined doctrine.
Yeah.
And anything other than that would be, let's face it, we can interpret a spiritual guide in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
And we can also interpret it in very negative terms. Now,
Yes.
Does that happen? Maybe, yeah, but again, you know yourself, you know your thoughts, you know where your heart is. You're not going to go astray. It's that much more it's that much easier to not be fooled.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I want to jump to a little bit of a personal note with you. You took care of your dear wife, Catherine, as she went through her journey and passed away. And I want to just ask you, how did your spirit guides help you during that time, and help you maybe with, I don't know, unconditional love or whatever it was? Do you have any message from that for us? Yeah.
They were spirit guides, and the other world is always there for me. It's always about. And there would be times where I just cannot go there. I cannot think of that. Because there's so much going on in life that I am pulled in, excuse me, and focusing. And no matter how much I would want to go and explore the heavens, I can't. First, they're always there. They're always there. They always help. I can see and know, again, also from hindsight, that they were always there and they were always helping, because there was always these little things that would come across, little events. And I could just feel that they ended up, even though there weren't great events, they ended up better than they could have. So, I can see what's going on in the interaction and such, and I can tell that there is a net effect. But as far as the part about, well, where are you going to go? What happens after you die and all this other stuff? That is kind of like a known for me. And my wife and I, we never really worried about that, what happens after. That's a big topic all on itself, and I neither of us feared it. It's just normal. It's what happens in life. Life ends, and that's that. And the way it goes, and sometimes the way it's living. I mean, it was very difficult for her, and for me too. She was disabled for the last 20 years of a 35-year marriage. And the last few years were very, very hard, because that was when she was getting less and less able and less energy. So we all knew what the writing was on the wall. And the spirit realm, I can see that they were always involved and they were always helping in some way, and in the ways that I would not ask for help, because they're writing up, they're the Overwatch. They're looking down and they're taking care of me, doing things that I don't even know about. I don't ask about. It's just, boy, this little event happened a lot easier than I thought it would have been. I wonder how that happened. And then you come down after a while and you realize it was because you were having intervention from another realm, and they helped. Yeah. It's like friends. What happened? You got friends that come up to you and say, hey, I think you're having a hard time. Let me give you a hand. Really? I didn't ask for anything. No, you didn't, but I'm your friend and I'm going to give you a hand. So here's a couple of bagels for you to have for breakfast. So you don't have to go out and buy it. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
I bring this part out, I mean, you've written so openly in your book and honestly, vulnerably, and need, I just applaud you for that. It really needs to be out there. But a lot of people come to me and they have this idea that if they work with their spirit guides, they're never going to have any challenges. His life is just going to be so good. And they're like, well, I'm mad at my spirit guides. They directed me. They said, yes, go that way. And now my heart's broken. I'm never talking to them again. Right?
Yes.
So can you just briefly talk about that?
Well, hindsight is 2020. We could always go back and look. It's a part of life. I mean, it's going to happen, and you're going to feel it. The more you're involved, and the more you live, the more you're going to feel. So, again, it comes back to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
If one gets the habit of relaxation meditation, sitting down, taking 15 minutes a day or so, and just calm, and all you have on your mind is your breathing, that's a relaxation technique. Now, from that relaxation technique, you can then start going up the chakra chain and, go up through the different realms and all that. But if you don't, you still got the relaxation technique.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have something. If everything goes crazy and you feel that the guides are pulled you down the wrong, corridor, maybe there's other lessons to be had. Yes. Failures are what? Failures are a discovery of that's not the way to do it. So let me think of some other way. And sometimes lessons in life are not always easy, and we need to fail before we understand what the next step is.
Yeah.
And then if we learned how to go silent and calm inside, we still have that tool to fall back on. Yeah. So, we're in life. Our job is to live. We're going to live. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be straight. Not going to be crazy. It could be. And that's where our attitude comes into play, as far as being positive attitude, and we make the best of it. Yeah.
I always tell people your guides are traveling with you.
Yeah.
So you're on the journey of your own soul, and they're traveling with you. They're not, there's going to be intervention, and that's a longer conversation. But man, we're almost at the end of the show. Wayne, that was like 1 second.
Really?
Where do people find you and your book? And what last words for people? What do you hope they really take away from your book and from your message?
Well, the book is on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. I have a website. It's called CesaroTheAuthor.com. I have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel. It's called Author Wayne Cesaro. So you can find me there. You can Google me. I should come up, and you can Google the title of the book and definitely get you there. And if you go to Amazon and you Google it and you search it there, you'll definitely find it right across with a whole bunch of other information. So I am available. I can be found. What I hope people take away from the book is here's my experiences, and I am dissecting myself for the world to see. If it's like, it's like I'll embarrass myself on the world stage, if you want to call it that. But here it is for you to see. So read it. And, it's like sitting down and having coffee with someone, talking about your spiritual, metaphysical aspects of your life. Many people have never had the opportunity to speak with anybody about that and to share with someone. Well, here, I'll share with you. And then maybe you can take it the next step to realize you're not alone. You may not be perfect. Your world life may not be perfect, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to end up okay. And there are other realms and other, dimensions that want to communicate with you. And you can, if you want to, and it's all right here. Some guy from New Jersey can handle this stuff. I'm sure that nowadays, it's a lot easier for people.
Yeah. Well, Wayne R. Cesaro, thank you so much for being on my show today. For everybody listening, have a great week. Do something nice for yourself and your loved ones. Benny Matters, you are always the best. And love to everybody.
Thank
Take
you
it
both.
easy.